Well, welcome back everyone. Today I've got some big ideas that we'll need in preparation for other big ideas. If you're part of the Discord, you might have an idea for what this huge project is that I'm planning. But if you're not part of the Discord, then I kind of want it to be a surprise. Whoa! Okay, we changed this to be going through the center now. I like that. And then there's a new member's house. We are still letting people on, for the record. It's just slower. It's kind of just vibe now. You know, if you fit the vibe, you join. I wanted to come here to get some soup firstly, because I may or may not have accidentally fallen down a hole. And then also I wanted to get a bunch of wood, because I think for my project, for my project I'm definitely going to want a lot of wood. And there is a lot of untouched land out here. I don't want to keep mining the wood that's right by my house. So, plus it gives me a chance to kind of survey everything that's happening in here now. One very oh my heck. The apple rates are way too high. Okay, they weren't kidding. I didn't realize they were that high. Our project today is a little meeting room for this next big project, because it's not just a me thing, as you can imagine is implied by having a meeting room. I plan on having a lot of people help out with this, because it's going to be a very, very big project. Hopefully, anyway. The idea is to have it be like a very large mega project. I've never really done any huge projects on the server before, so. And as for the meeting itself, I don't know when I'm going to do that, but I will say you have to be in that meeting to be part of the crew. I'm going to make myself another axe. I'm not sure how big I want this meeting room to be. All I know is that I want it to be like almost like a boardroom kind of thing. That's the kind of vibe that I'm going for. And what is that? I want to check this out. That's kind of cool. I didn't know you could even make bookshelves in this version. That's probably a stupid observation, but I didn't have any idea. Oh, okay. Just invading someone's house. Apples for the hungry. Wait, what? Are they trying to run it through here as well? Oh, okay. Oh, is there less now, or I can't tell. I thought that board was bigger before. I thought I had more people on it before. Yeah, items must last on the ground much, much longer than 5 minutes. Hey, Jesus. Yeah, because it has been way more than 5 minutes since those were on the ground. Has it not always been 5 minutes? There was a time, actually, that I died doing that somehow, so still gotta be careful, I guess, going down there. I wanted to do a farm here. I'm still unsure exactly, like, how. So we're gonna leave this one vacant, but I think this side would make for a perfect meeting room. And actually, let me get those signs that I got earlier, wherever I put them. There they are. So I think ocean thing, maybe. I'm still not too sure, because the ocean thing kind of a weird, inconvenient spot for making an ocean house out that way. And then farm here, so farms, and then this will be meeting room. There we go. Now to build it. Okay, I think I kind of have an idea with how I want to do this here. I think I want it to be tall, maybe 4 blocks, like this room, maybe. Because, you know, 3 is kind of your standard height. 4 is like, whoa, this is serious kind of height. Sure. Yeah, 4. Might give us enough room to put some kind of fancy lighting in as well. So there was a guy in, you know, he was part of the server when I first started it up. He was running his own little channel and everything too. And this was, you know, it was supposed to like help him get his channel off the ground to, you know, I was willing to help him. Not that I have some crazy audience or secrets or anything, but I was willing to, like, you know, give him shout outs on the videos and stuff. You know, first video, just fine, no problems. He invites me to, like, this special private server with a few other people that I guess he was planning to do a video on. It was a modern Minecraft server. And, you know, we played on that for a little bit. I was doing some kind of cool construction stuff. Sorry, give me a sec. I was doing some cool construction stuff. I was making, like, this big dirt tower kind of thing. It was kind of maybe a bit dumb. It was kind of meant to be, you know, like a subversion of expectations kind of thing. So I'm on that server with him, and I think he's recording, you know, his first video and everything. And there was a message in his screenshots chat. Just someone, you know, someone put a screenshot of something they built up. If you've joined over here, you know, if you've joined the Discord, or if you're part of the server, you'll know that, or you'll hopefully know that one of my big things with this server is that I don't want any, like, controversial, I don't want any political, like, I don't, like, this is just not the place for that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, this is just Minecraft, you know, let it just be Minecraft. That's my thinking. You know, I couldn't care one way or the other what other people think, because it's not my life. But, because of that, you know, someone posted something in his Discord server's screenshot chat. You know, I'm not gonna say exactly what it was, but it was something that I would say is, like, politically charged or, like, controversial, or at least something that could create, like, political conversation or controversial conversation. And I don't, you know, I don't want my channel to be the place of that. I don't want to be associated with any of that. I try to be pretty honest with you guys, and a big thing for me is that I just kind of don't care, and I really just think it's stupid if you think you need to push your beliefs through Minecraft, through building stuff in Minecraft. Like, that's pretty stupid, you know what I mean? Like, there's other outlets. And so I told him, you know, I messaged him. It wasn't rude or anything. I just messaged him. I told him, hey, like, I don't want to be in the video. I don't want people to associate me with that. You know, I don't want people to think I'm one thing or the other, make assumptions. Really, the main thing is really just I don't want people to make assumptions because of some dumb build in a video game. But he was initially like, oh yeah, no, you know, that's fine. A reasonable response. He's like, yeah, that's fine. You know, you didn't talk much in the video anyway, so it's not a big deal. I'll take you out. And I was like, cool. I went out and did some other stuff, just took care of the other things I have to take care of. And I come back in, and he's like unfriended me, left the server, and sent me this message that's like, you know what, like, I went and talked over with some of my friends, and I don't want to be it was something to the effect of, like, I don't want to be associated with someone or their group who says my friends' existences are political or controversial. Like, a crash out about it. It's like, dude, nobody said that. I don't care. You know, I said nothing about your friend's existence. They exist. Rather, I like what they believe or not, which wasn't the point at all anyway. Like, the point wasn't that I didn't like what they posted. The point was just that it was something that could cause, like, a controversial discussion or political discourse or divide in my community. Even in their community, it could cause divide in their community too. The goal of my thing is to connect people. So I didn't tell anyone that their existence was controversial. I said nothing about anyone's existence. What the hell is that even supposed to mean? Like, it's such a dumb response. Like, a very immature response to what I feel like was a very mature way of handling that. You know, I could have been a dick. I could have been like, your fucking friends suck and everything that you believe in is stupid and terrible. You know, I could have said that. I could have been a jerk. I chose to be nice. I chose to just, you know, tell him, hey, not something I want to have tied to my name. I don't know. I just think it's dumb. I think it's dumb, like I said, I think it's dumb in the first place that people feel the need to, like, push, like, political stuff and controversial stuff, like, in Minecraft, like in Minecraft videos or in Minecraft builds. Like, who gives a shit? Who's here for that? Nobody cares for that. Nobody's coming to anyone's Minecraft channel for their hot political takes. Like, Nobody cares about that. Like I said, my channel is about uniting people. I'm sure there are people in my Discord who maybe I don't agree with them on everything, but that's fine because we don't have to, because that's not the point. And, it's the same thing for your friends, right? And I consider you guys my friends in that sense, where like, your friends, if your friends have a different opinion than you on something, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not, I mean, I don't feel like it matters. I feel like most reasonable people just don't care, For me personally, if there's something that my friends think or something that my friends want to believe in, like say my friends want to believe, say my friends are like, I don't know, my friends are, I don't know, Muslim, and I'm not, I'm not going to be mad at them because I'm not Muslim. That's stupid. Why would anyone be mad about that? I'm just going to not, if it bothers me so much, which it wouldn't, but if it did, like if it was something that bothered me so much, I just wouldn't bring it up, because your friends, like, you're supposed to connect with your friends. And what I'm getting at with all that is like the whole point of all of this, my whole channel, my whole everything, the Discord, this server, like all of this is to connect, because regardless of what we think on whatever stupid topic you can come up with, there is one thing that we share in common, which is that we all like playing this silly little block game. We all enjoy building things in this silly little block game. So why should anything else matter when we all just want to do the same thing in Minecraft? Like, it doesn't matter. And I just think it's so dumb. I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know. I just think it's stupid that people get so worked up and frustrated about such stupid things like that. Like I said, like, it really has nothing to do with what I believe in. It just has to do with the fact that I don't think it belongs here. Like, it just doesn't belong here. There are plenty other mediums, plenty other art forms, plenty other places, outlets for people to go with that kind of thing. And someone else's YouTube channel about playing an old nostalgic version of a video game is not really the right place. That wouldn't be the first time in my life that I've gotten into drama with people. Well, drama, quote unquote. Not only like do I want to connect people and stuff, but another kind of like, not as big of a reason, but definitely still part of it, and maybe slightly a little bit more selfish, is that like I just really don't care for drama. Like, I like to just live my life, and I usually just kind of try to stay away from it as much as I can. And so it's always really frustrating whenever people try to like rope me into it anyway. And that's kind of why I'm so passionate about that story. But, as I was saying, that's definitely not the first time that someone's tried to rope me into a bunch of dumb drama for no reason. For instance, this is something I mentioned in the last video. I wasn't sure if I was gonna, talk about it on the channel ever, really. Just because, I don't know if it really matters all too much. But while I'm already on the topic, I figure, I guess I might as well. So, first off, let me think of floor ideas. I think I'm gonna dig up this floor. Side note, the gold pickaxe thing, apparently this was a bug until like release 1.6 or something. It's a known bug, apparently. I think it maybe just happens with gold picks. Let me just dig this up, so that way I can think. It's hard to build and think at the same time. Okay, I think I want to do slabs maybe here. Do you know that I like stone slabs? I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this story or not. Not because it's like anything terrible, mostly just because, like I said, I don't really know if it belongs here, like if it really fits. But I'm already kind of in that zone of telling stories, so I'll tell this one too. Shoot, I'm all sorts of off track. Hold on. So yeah. So this one, not as like random. This one maybe is like partially brought on by myself a little bit, just me kind of being an ass. But I don't think that the ends justify the means in any case in this scenario, so I'll tell it anyway. In high school, I don't know if you guys know, I'm graduated now. I graduated online because of this whole story. I went online because of all this, partially because of all this, also partially to finish off early because I wanted to be done. So I got done in February this year, and my classmates are going to get done probably, I don't know, what month is it? May? So probably soon. Yeah, it would have been November of like 24. There was a lot of people on like Instagram, which I don't use really at all anymore. I mean, I didn't really before anyway, but I especially don't now. I really keep myself distant from social media now. But on Instagram, there were a lot of people posting a lot of stuff about like, political stuff and all these things, like trying to fearmonger people. Just, same stuff that always happens with anytime someone wants you to believe something, they make you scared of the other thing. Everyone does it. Both sides of whatever thing do it. Not even sides, just, you know what I mean? Like, especially with political stuff, like both sides try to make you afraid of the other side, which is stupid in its own right anyway. Not delving too much into that because, like I said before, this isn't about politics. There were people posting stuff, just kind of being twats about it, like just being assholes for no real reason. They were talking about how, like, this whole group of people is a whole bunch of, like, just a bunch of names that they have no real right to call anyone that they don't know in large groups. It's like, they're like, oh, all these people are pedophiles, all these people are, like misogynists, all these people are blah, 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 like, insert angry word here that I don't like, right? And so, not in a moment of bright thinking, I was at work at the time, and I was like, hey, you know what? Like, this is dumb that they're acting like this. I'm going to reply to one of them. And one of them, was one of my classmates at school. I was in, what am I doing up here? I think I was getting wool. It's dark outside right now. Can I do anything else down here? I guess I can mine out this while I wait for it to turn day. Or maybe I can experiment with... One of them was one of my classmates. And, I had a couple classes with him. I didn't really know him all too well. But, I was not justifying anything. Because, like I said, I'll admit, I was being an ass. In my infinite wisdom, I decided that while I was frustrated at work would be a great time to write a reply to that. To put it simply, I wasn't nice, like at all. Like I really was being just as much of a twat about it, really. But I was just saying, like, it's not really cool to call people en masse like these things. Like, you don't know anything about them. That's not okay. Of course, I said it way more dickishly. Rightfully so, they got pretty upset about that, and that, that's fine. I don't blame them for that. But they posted my response to their initial post as like a private I don't know how Instagram works. Something that only friends can see. I heard about that. One of my friends told me. Apparently they were on that special VIP list or whatever. They saw the post and they're like, oh, they posted about you or something like that. And the screenshot that they sent me didn't have my name in it. Like, it was blacked out, like a reasonable person would do, black that out even if you do share it. And I respect that much. I guess apparently it seemed like anyone who asked, they would just tell them that it was me, which, I think that's a little bit rude. I mean, regardless of what I said, I think, you should keep that between you and the person you're upset about. Don't drag everybody else into it. I apologize to them. I think all in all, we kind of made ends meet in that regard. Like, it didn't really seem like there was any animosity there. Not to me, anyway. It didn't seem like it. It seemed like we resolved things well. I told them, like, hey, that wasn't my proudest moment. I thought that was that, and I figured I'd just, okay, there we go, that's good. Didn't really care about it anymore. That's about when I uninstalled Instagram, too, because I was like, this is not good for me. The next school year, when we went back in after Christmas break, I had a lot of times that I would get called into the office. Well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So there was one of their friends that I guess took it upon themselves to be like their knight in shining armor or something. Like, really trying to protect them from the evil thing that is me, apparently. I mean, that's how it seemed. I guess they just got a bug up their ass about for me, after that. And they spent all the next year, I'd get called into the office basically like once every week, and I'd get called in and they'd be like, hey, this person said you were doing this thing, and it'd be like you were in the same hallway as them. Are you trying to do something? It's like, no, obviously not. And I'd get pulled in all the time for that, and I'd have to tell them, like, obviously that's not what is happening. Like, we share a school building, so I'm obviously going to be around them. So it seemed like most of them, like, it seemed like every time I went in and I explained it, they were like, oh, okay. And it didn't seem like it was ever really a big deal. But it started getting, like, more and more frequent to the point that, like, the vice principal himself didn't even start, like, saying what was happening when he came in to get me to pull me into the office. He'd, like, walk in the room and give me, like, a look, and he'd be like, yeah, it's that again. And, like, first of all, like, isn't that the first sign that this is bullshit and you should, like, stop caring about it? That's when I would be like, all right, this is just, boy who cried wolf. You just keep making shit up. There's a sheep over here. That's what I'm going after, by the way. I was involved in a lot of after school stuff at that time. I was doing an after school, like, game dev thing with some of my friends that I set up in the computer lab. I was on the robotics team again. I'd done it the year before, and I was on there again. It just kept getting more and more frequent to the point that I was like, all right, like, this is annoying that I have to keep coming in here and explaining my innocence for, like, sitting at the same table because there are no other tables open at lunch. The same lunch that the school made us share. Like, if it's such a problem, why doesn't the school give us different lunches? Anyway, it just kept being, like, annoying, like a little annoying fruit fly. Eventually, I get brought in, and it's like, he comes in, he calls me in as usual. Well, actually, hold on, let me backtrack a little bit. So, before this last time that I'd gotten called in, one of my friends had texted me and been like, dude, they're roping me into all this too. Like, they're trying to ask me questions about it, trying to see, what do I know? As if it's like an interrogation of something. I need to add this. I figure that most people watching me, I figure you guys probably kind of know me enough to know that I really just don't, like, I would not be so involved in drama like this. Like, I wouldn't be, you know what I mean? My friend texts me, he's like, hey, they're roping me into all this too. So I come in that day, that he hadn't even called me in, but I was frustrated because I was like, okay, like, whatever, you want to keep talking to me, that's fine, I don't care. But, like, my friends have nothing to do with anything, so, like, leave them out of it. But it got so bad to, like, a point where, there were some of this person's friends coming into, like, my girlfriend's work and, like, saying shit about me that isn't true, making shit up about me. I'm kind of telling this a little bit out of order, but it's kind of just a whole stream of really stupid lies trying to be spread about me. Eventually, let me try to bring this all back around to a timeline. Eventually, I decide, I'm like, you know what, like, this is so annoying that I can't even get my, like, school shit done because I get pulled out all the time to go, like, tell the office, no, look at the camera footage, you'll see that I wasn't doing this thing, and they'll be like, oh, yup, you weren't there doing this thing. Well, I guess you can go back. I was sick of doing that all the time because this stupid person, just whatever they wanted to do, trying to get me into trouble. And, I eventually was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. So I called up the online school, which they do still have. They have their offices here in the same town. It's the same school district. It's just like a different pathway or something. I don't know what it would technically be called. I called them up. I set up a meeting with their principal, and I was like, hey, if at any point you guys can meet up with me and talk about, discuss me going online, that'd be great. I think the next day after I called and made that appointment was, we're going to turn around and go back this way, so that way we can be home before it gets dark. But I'm still going to hunt for sheep. I had set up my appointment like the next Tuesday or something like that. You know, I go into school, business as usual, just trying to get my shit done because I can't, you know, trying to catch up on the stuff that I can't do. You know, I'm in my like second or third period, probably second, I think it would have been. The vice principal comes in, he's like, oh, you know, it's this stuff again. And I was like, okay, whatever, you know, same thing. I'll deal with it. It'll go away for about a week and then it'll come back. That's kind of how the rhythm had been for a while. And he's like, so this person's mom says that you're stalking them. Ooh, sheep. Immediately I was like, what? Like, stalking, really? And he's like, yeah, they think that you're stalking them. I was like, okay, why do they think that? And they were like, well, we have 2 incidents to show for you today or something like that. They open up the laptop that's on his desk, and it's already opened up to like the camera footage of the lunchroom at that time, that day, that hour. It's like I'm being interrogated for a murder, right? He's like, all right, so we're just going to play this, and I just want you to narrate what's happening. That particular day I'd gotten out later to lunch, so, you know, most of the tables were taken up. I come in and you can see me walk in. It's about like everyone's already in, everyone's already got their food, they're sat down. You know, I don't have many friends. So I come in and I'm walking around, I'm looking for you know, any friends that I can sit by. And I'm just scanning the tables, and you know, there's a couple tables that my friends are at, but there's a couple other weird people on that table that I didn't want to sit at, like mouth breathing kind of people that I'm like, I'm gonna be disgusted if I sit by you. So eventually I narrow it down to their table, the person who causes all the drama. There were some friends of mine sitting there. I saw one of my friends, his name was Michael. I saw him go sit down on the very end of the table, the complete opposite end of this person. Like, I saw this person at that table, and I was like, all right, I got to look for any other table but this, because it's going to be a whole thing. My friend Michael sits down at that table at the opposite end. You know, I just sit down and I eat. And basically what I just told you is what I told them as it was playing. I was like, you know, it's playing and you see me like walking around looking at stuff, and I'm like, yeah, right now I'm looking, trying to find a place to sit. Okay, I see my friend. Think I have a place to sit. And then I walk over and I was like, okay, I guess I'll just sit down and eat my food. I don't know, I guess maybe they were expecting more. I don't really know what they... It's still so weird to me because it's like, what do you anticipate me to say? Do you anticipate me to be like, oh, I see him. I gotta be real sneaky about how I get over there. I'm just doing my normal activity, trying to avoid drama, if anything. He's like, something like, oh, wow, you narrated that really good. He was like, I see exactly what you were saying. It's like, yeah, no shit, because that's what happened. Nothing happened. So anyway, he's like, okay, so I guess nothing really happened there. And then he shows me a second video. And it's the same kind of thing, except this one I don't even know if I sat at the same table. I think it might have just been in the same lunchroom. I don't really quite remember. Regardless, you know, he asked me to narrate it again. I do. And my narration isn't crazy because nothing crazy happened. And after that, I'm expecting them to be like, oh, you know, okay, this is nothing, like, you're good to go back to class, like it had usually been. Because it usually would just be they'd pull me in for something dumb. I'd tell them, no, that's not what happened. And they'd be like, okay, back to class. Do I have any roses on me? Sorry, I'm really, like, kind of all over the place with this story. I apologize. He's like, well, given how much, you know, whatever's been happening, we decided we decided we should probably have you sign a no contact order. And keep in mind that throughout this entire year, because of this stupid drama, I literally not said a word to this person, not looked in their direction, not engaged with them in any sense of the word, in any way. You know, I haven't engaged with them at all. As soon as he said that, I was like, no. I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I was like, I'm not going to sign a no contact order for somebody I don't contact. Then he's like, you know, he thinks for a second. He sits back in his chair, and you know, I'm angry. Like, got my arms crossed. I'm angry. You know, I probably don't look intimidating at all because I'm a scruffy little 18-year-old. But I'm frustrated. It's annoying. It's stupid. I'm frustrated. I want it to be over with. Let's plan out a little bit here while I have time. He sits back. He thinks. He's like, well, He's like, then I guess we're gonna have to pursue other education options for you. Which, you know, you tell me if you think I'm wrong, but to me, that sounds like you have to go to school somewhere else without saying you have to go to school somewhere else. And so when he said that, I was like, all right. I was like, fine. I was like, that's fine by me. I already set up an appointment with the online school for next Tuesday. I don't remember if we talked about much more after that, but you know, I just left. I went home. On the way out, he's like, by the way, I'm sorry I had to come to this. Like, I know this is annoying. And like, I asked him, I was like, be upfront with me. Like, I was like, do you think this is stupid? He was like, yeah, this is pretty stupid. I was like, in my head, I'm like, then why the hell, like, why is this even a problem then? But anyway, you know, I go home, whatever. I told my parents about it. My dad, he's upset about it because it's stupid. Like, it's really stupid. So he calls him, kind of rails into the vice principal a little bit. The vice principal's like, you know, on the phone, he's like, oh, you know, like, I agree the whole time. So it's like, obviously he agrees that it's stupid, you know, that the whole situation's stupid. So to me, I'm still baffled. Like, okay, then why has anything gone through then? Like, why, you know, but whatever. I go to online school, I get it finished, I get done, whatever. At some point during that, we went in to like have a discussion with the like actual principal herself and the can't remember what role he is, but he's a tool and nobody likes him. So, you know, at some point we went in and we talked to them and, you know, told them like, this is stupid. Like, this is a dumb situation to be in. I also told them like, this is a stupid way to run your education system. Like, it's dumb that one person's word can trump an entire other person's education just because they're someone who gets easily offended. There's someone who gets their feelings hurt. I told them, I was like, I think it's stupid that we cater to them, cater to these people who can't handle when someone disagrees with them, can't handle when someone says something they don't like all these sensitive people. It's stupid that anything caters to them. It's stupid that the education system, which is meant to be fair for all kids, caters to only the kids who can't handle when someone like doesn't agree with them. And, you know, after that, kind of just left it after there. You know, we didn't really push it any further. We probably could have, you know, made it a bigger deal, but really all of it stemmed from me not wanting it to be a big deal. So I'm glad that we didn't. I'm glad that we kind of just left it as is. So anyway, now on to other topics. Well, not really kind of the same topic, but really I just want to loop back around to like, I really just want it to be clear to everyone that like, in the best way possible, I just don't care. You know, I just want to connect people. I just want to focus on the things we have in common, which, you know, the main thing is we all like this game. And I just want to focus on that. I don't want to care or focus on anything else in here because everyone already hears enough about everything else everywhere else, and we don't need any more of it. I want this to be a positive place where we connect, where we, you know, make new friends with people that we maybe wouldn't have otherwise met, maybe because of these controversial things. I really think it's important to just be nice to people. And I know that I wasn't nice, you know, when I initially said that stuff in November. You know, I know I wasn't nice. I know I was rude about it. It's one thing to just be a dick and, you know, not do anything about it, but I think it's another thing entirely to, you know, look back and be like, yeah, like I was a jerk. I'm sure someone out there is going to be like, wow, you're just trying to justify yourself, huh? But, you know, I also got to be honest, like, I don't need validation from anyone else. This is about positivity, connectivity. You know, I think one of the best ways to keep a positive attitude, to just learn to love yourself. Because I think if you can learn to love yourself for who you are and, you know, for everything about yourself, even your faults, you know, I'm someone who gets easily frustrated. You know, I'm kind of a short fuse person when it comes to very particular topics. That's something I can definitely fix. It's something I've been working on with myself. But it's important to love yourself no matter what. And I think if you can get to a point where you really just can love yourself and be content with your own existence and like spending time with yourself. And I think it's important to love spending time with yourself. I think it's important to love being bored, to love all of that stuff. That's the biggest thing to being happy. I can say that in the past, I don't know, like past year or two, I've really rediscovered myself a lot. Maybe that's another thing I'll talk about at some point here. Yeah, I mean, ever since then, ever since learning who I am and learning to love that person, I've just been more happy as a result, because the time that I spend alone, I don't feel, I'm not mad at myself anymore. I'm not frustrated with myself anymore. I don't feel like hatred for things I do anymore. I don't resent anything. Like, I think it's a good thing that I can say right now in my life that I really don't think I legitimately regret a single thing. Because not that I think that everything I've done is amazing. I don't. I know I've done stupid things. I know I've done bad things too. We all have. That's kind of what makes us human, isn't it? The reason I don't regret anything is because I realize that everything that has happened to me or because of me, regardless of whether those things were positive or not, ultimately led to the person that I am today. And the person that I am today, I think, is a respectable person, a mature, like, honest, kind person. All of those events, all of those good events, all of those bad events before in my life had to happen for me to become who I am now. And so, because of that, I don't regret them. I don't want to repeat them. I don't wish to ever repeat any bad things I've done, but I don't regret them because they're important to building the person that I am today. Let me drink some of my soda pop. Another thing that I'm a huge advocate for, kind of related and kind of part of how I was able to really rediscover myself in this way, being bored. Social media is a great way to distract yourself from everything else, a great way to make yourself momentarily not bored. I mean, you're still kind of bored because you're not enjoying what you're doing, I don't feel like, but it's a different kind of bored. Sitting and staring at a wall on your couch, it's a different bored than scrolling YouTube shorts or Instagram mindlessly. Those are two very different things. And I think the version of, sitting on the couch and looking at the wall or sitting outside, I prefer that one. Just listening to the sounds and everything. Right now with today's world, not that I think there's some huge problem. I actually really don't. I quite like the time period that I'm alive in. It's very easy to have this constant noise. There's music playing, there's people talking. You're at your computer, you're probably watching YouTube. Oops, I called you out. I don't know, maybe reading Discord or emails or something. You're doing something kind of at all times to keep your brain occupied. It's sort of this constant mental noise. As a result of that, a lot of us really don't have a deeper connection with ourselves as people. And when you're bored, your brain has nothing else to listen to. There's no external noise. And so, after a little bit of sitting there, you start to kind of tune into yourself. Stuff about the day. Maybe someone said something and now you're kind of thinking through it and kind of processing it. It's when you process stuff. And it's also definitely a great time for creativity. A lot of creative thoughts, I think we can all say, have come from shower thoughts. But I think shower thoughts only happen because we're bored in the shower. We're just showering. There's nothing going on. When you take the time to just connect with yourself, to just be with yourself and listen to that, and maybe this sounds weird, but kind of talk to yourself, if that makes sense, allow yourself to talk to yourself, is when you can really start to learn more about yourself. And I think through that process you can become a lot more comfortable with yourself too. Probably regardless of where you are, if you just sit outside and focus on things that are there in your life, focus on things that you can see, it kind of becomes obvious that There really isn't that much going on, is there? And to me, at least, that's a very, like, humbling thing. Maybe humbling is the wrong word, but it's very comforting. I'm sure you've probably heard the advice in a relationship. You shouldn't have to change yourself for your partner to like you, right? For your partner to love you and care about you. And that's true. That's very true advice. Your relationship with yourself should be the same way. Maybe saying you shouldn't have to change how you look is a little bit of a dangerous thing to say, because, you know, if you're like borderline diabetic, then maybe you should focus on not progressing that further. You know, you shouldn't have to change how you look. What I mean is, like, you shouldn't have to, like these people celebrities that get, like, plastic surgeries, right? Try to find a way, and that's a better way to put it. You should try to find a way, the person that you see in the mirror, you should try to find a way to connect with that person, to learn to love that person for who they are, as they were born, you know? But I think, you know, I'm really trying to be, like, very cautious about my wording, but I think you get what I mean. I say think about it this way. If you feel the need to change something like that, like, let's say tomorrow I'm like, you know, I need to go get surgery to make my thumbs longer. Just a generic example. Let's say that's my example. I would say ask yourself, hello, skeleton. Not that. I would say ask yourself, if I was in a relationship with someone and they asked me to do that, would I do that for them? If I was in a relationship and someone told me, you have to get surgery to make your thumbs longer, I'd be like, no, I don't. You're going to deal with my thumb length. Also, why do you care about my thumb length? You get what I mean? Another example, let's say, like, oh, I feel like my face is too, I don't know. My eyes are too far. I don't know what you can get surgeries for. I'm not a surgeon. Or let's say, like, my nose is too big. Michael Jackson, right? If you think that about yourself, ask yourself, if a partner said that to you, if a partner told you, listen, you got to shrink your nose, would you do it for him? Probably not, because that's a really dumb thing to ask someone to do. So you shouldn't have to do it to yourself. You know, you should learn to love yourself for who you are. Is the whole point of all this. Jesus, I'm long-winded. I did not get any wood, which I think was the whole reason I went out that way. Oh, no, I went for soup. That's what it was. Okay. Sorry, it is really hard to play and talk at the same time. I think I'm getting better at it slightly. I'm not saying as much. Also, oh, wow. Figures. Also, anyway, oh my hell. I'm curious. Some people in the server, I was asking them, you know, what they thought was maybe different about my first few videos on this channel that are public and my more recent stuff. And they said one of the main things that they really liked about the old content, shockingly to me, was like all the stuff that I talk about, you know, all the rambling, all that kind of stuff. That's not what I expected. Is that one of the main reasons that you enjoy my stuff? Is that something you really enjoy about my content? If so, then I'm going to make more of an effort to stop cutting so much of it out. Because I've recently started cutting a lot out in the aid of, like, keeping it more topic focused, which is what I thought was working better about the older videos. So yeah, you let me know. You let me know if you think that the rambling and all the speak about whatever's going on, if that's the interesting part of it to you. Given the nature of my channel, which is, like, very not what YouTube's algorithm is currently designed for, very relaxed, very kind of low energy. I would almost say my stuff is kind of sleep aid kind of stuff. Very much not what the YouTube algorithm is primarily focused around right now. Because of that, I think it's a little hard to really gauge what is happening with you, like with the algorithm when it comes to my channel. You know, because there's always in my videos a huge drop off at the 30-second mark, and then it usually kind of flatlines from there. And what I've always assumed this whole time is that, like, that flatline is probably, like, all of the people who actually do enjoy this stuff, and then the first 30 seconds people is mostly people who would have never enjoyed it to begin with, and, like, YouTube is just not giving it to the right people. And so, wrapping back around what I was trying to say is, because of all that, it makes it a little hard to know, like, okay, why did this video underperform compared to this video that did outstanding. You know, it's really hard to tell. It's really, really hard to tell. So yeah, I mean, just let me know if the rambling and all the yapping stuff that I do, if that's what you like and that's what you want to see more of, let me know. I want to do one more thing. I want to put like a little light fixture in the center of the room. Not quite like a lamp, but some kind of something. Oh shoot, I need 2. Good thing I have 2 fences. Oh, actually, maybe that'll work. I don't know. That's a little awkward to see, isn't it? I really don't know what this is supposed to represent anymore, but you know what? Looks fine. Actually, it looks kind of cool. I like that. Oh. Ooh, I really like that, actually. That looks kind of neat. Thanks for sticking around through this very long-winded video. I don't know how much of this I'm going to have to cut out. This might either be a longer video or a shorter video, depending on how much I have to cut out. Anyway, next thing that you'll see is probably the big meeting that we're going to have to hold in here for the big project. So stay tuned for that, because I'm really excited. I'm actually stoked. I'm super excited about it. I'm really, really excited to get this all figured out and planned out and everything. Stay tuned for that. But for today, I think that's where I'm going to log off. So I appreciate everyone for their time. And yeah, I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.